What's up everyone, back for another beer review, and today I'll be reviewing a beer from Sparrow, and they're out of Cambridge, Ontario, Canada, and this is their Fine and Dandy. So they're calling this one a double dry hopped New England IPA that comes in at 6.2% alcohol by volume. No IBUs listed. Time of review, this can is approximately 1 month old. I'm gonna give a huge thanks and shout out once again to a very good friend of mine and a viewer of the channel, sometimes, Sean, for this beer. So big thanks to him. In the description box, I'll post a link to the beer haul video I did that contains all the goodies that Sean hooked me up with, and he hooked me up with 7 different beers from Ontario, Canada, and this was one of the 7. And I don't know much about Sparrow other than a couple of different things. Number one, I think they're not only a brewery, but I think they're a coffee roaster. Someone correct me if I'm wrong, but I think they're both a brewery and a coffee roaster. And the other one is, if you look at my glass here, I have the Barncat Artisan Ales glass. Unfortunately, they are a brewery from Cambridge that closed their doors back at the end of August 2023. And the co-owner of Barncat actually is now brewing at Sparrow. So I thought that was a cool connection. Unfortunately, Barncat, I know for Sean, but also myself, and a lot of other Canadian craft beer drinkers, especially in Ontario, big bummer that Barncat closed its doors. They were widely regarded as one of the better breweries in Ontario, and everything I've had from them has been pretty damn awesome. So their spirit to some degree lives on in Sparrow, I guess. So anyway, this is a double dry hopped New England IPA, and they're using Lotus in the whirlpool. They're also dry hopping at Lotus, and they're doing another dry hop with Lotus and HBC. I think it's 1019, which honestly, that is an interesting dry hopping combo between the two. I don't think I've ever had that before, and I don't, off the top of my head, have I had a beer with HBC 1019 in it? I have no idea. So we're here to see what this one's all about. Hopefully it's quite delicious. But yeah, again, I really don't know much about Sparrow, so I know, I've seen a couple check-ins of their beers from my Canadian friends, and they seem to have a pretty solid reputation. So yeah, I'm pouring out like a hazy to some degree here. So do a little bit of a pour here to try to generate some kind of head. So yeah, we'll throw the... Wow, that's an interesting flavor on that little cheat that I had there. Anyway, yeah, that has that honey orange color, very murky and turbid, about a finger of a off-white, almost eggshell white colored head. Pretty creamy head as well. Yeah, hold it up to the light. You cannot see through that at all. I mean, that is just a beautiful, in my opinion, looking hazy, maybe a little bit darker than some people enjoy, but I'm fine with it. Nose. That is... You know what this reminds me of? The first time I ever had cashmere. Now, cashmere has come a long way as far as a hop and different characteristics. The first time I had it, it was at the Voodoo Brewing Company at their brew pub in Erie, Pennsylvania. And they had a beer, I think it was like maybe a pale ale or an IPA that had cashmere in it. And they were like, oh, cashmere, new hop, blah, blah, blah. This was like, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 years ago, whenever cashmere first kind of hit the market as a named hop. And I got a lot of coconut out of it, out of a hop, coconut. And I'm getting that here. I am getting actually rich, like pina colada vibes. Pineapple and coconut all day. Oh, yeah, it's sweet. Yeah, it just smells like pina colada to me. There's a little bit of like an underlying maybe stone fruit, like a juicy peach or maybe apricot. Because it's lower ABV too, I'm getting a touch of like a doughy, bready kind of malt sensation in the nose. Shouldn't say sensation. Aroma. Maybe a touch of herbaceousness, floral tones. It's a very perfumey, but in a good way. It's like if you had a pina colada like candle. It doesn't, maybe not that like artificial, but kind of in that realm. And that's kind of different from an IPA. Yeah, this smells really fucking good. Let's get into it. Cheers, everybody. Thanks again, Sean. It's pina colada to me. And the taste is dialed back at 6.2%. I'm not thinking it's gonna, blow my socks off, but it has a substantial pina colada character to it. Put it this way, if you like pina coladas or that flavor and you like hazy IPAs, this is your jam. I mean, I love coconut. Pina coladas, I do enjoy quite a bit. I will say maybe this one would be a little bit too much of one thing, and that's it. Like maybe by half of this glass, I'd be like, all right, done with that pina colada, right? Because there's not a lot of complexity, if I'm being honest with you. Mine is a 6.2%, around medium, maybe a touch under. Fine for what it is. The mouthfeel, yeah, it has a soft, smooth, kind of creamy nature to it. It's not upper echelon, but it's still really nice. So I'm fine with the body and mouthfeel. I think they're quite nice. The taste, again, this is not a beer I'm going to bore you with 7,000 different tasting notes. Front to back, underlying doughy, bready malt character, and what is riding above that is a pina colada character. And it's authentic, but it also has a little bit of that like candle that I was talking about, like a little bit of like a, I want to say artificial, but like a natural pina colada flavoring. It's pineapple, it's coconut. Maybe a touch, again, of like a juicy peach or a juicy apricot. On the back of the palate, it has a slight like floral herbaceousness to it. Yeah, like a slight floral herbaceousness to it. This finish is semi-dry. The one issue I would have with this beer, on the finish, it doesn't really have any bitterness. And I know stylistically, like a lot of people don't want, here's where I stand with like hazy beers, whether they're just called hazy IPAs or New England IPAs. I am at the point in my life when I drink these beers, I want something to balance out all that, juicy, fruity goodness you get from the hops. A lot of times they're sweeter, especially if they're doubles or triples and you're using a lot of, malt character to bump up that sweetness. I need something to balance that out, whether that's like a substantial firm dryness or like a moderate bitterness. That's kind of where I'm in my when it comes to what I enjoy for the style. So if somebody loves hazy IPAs or New England IPAs at 6.2% and doesn't give a shit if there's bitterness or not, and that maybe their preference is to just be sweeter, then this is you. For me, I want more bitterness out of this. This is a mild bitterness, semi-dry finish. The dryness or the bitterness has to be more substantial to kind of balance it out, because as is a little bit sweet. I would say this beer for me, I love the flavor profile because I really dig pina colada. The problem I have with it, not overly complex. Doesn't need to be complex to be good, but not overly complex. It's a bit too sweet. I mean, that's kind of where I come from. And a little bit of like a slight artificial pina colada thing, which, they're not using artificial flavors in here or anything. It's just kind of how I'm perceiving it. So if there was more bitterness or more dryness to balance it out, and there was a little bit more depth of flavor and complexity, I would really, really like this beer. As is, I still enjoy it. Just, I don't love it. But it was fun to try, and this is very unique. Lotus and HBC 1019 hops. Yeah, I don't think I've ever had that combo, so very fun. Let me do another sip, and then we'll lock in a rating. 6.2%, you really can't tell. Good lacing as well. And in the hashtag, not really proper glassware, but kind of. Anyway, rating. Where do I want to rate this one? I'm going to give... Sparrow, they're fine and dandy. What do I want to give this? I think I'm going to give this a high 4 out of 5 and go 4.1 out of 5. Still a really good score and still a really good beer, but I'm saying if there was something to balance this beer out and it had a little bit more complexity to it, this would be easily in the high 4.2, maybe even low 4.5 range. That's how much I dig the flavor profile and even the body and mouthfeel. It's just as is. Yeah, this is a 4.1 out of 5 all day. Very simplistic label. I dig it. Nothing crazy, but I do take it. So yeah, price point availability. On their website, they were selling these for $5 Canadian a can. If you do the conversion to American, that's like $3.75 to $4 a can. Yeah, that's fine. I mean, if you get, again, and I always make the reference to like other half, but just in general, like if you buy a 6.2% New England IPA, hazy IPA from a brewery here in the US, you're typically going anywhere probably from like $12 to like $18, depending on how hyped the brewery is, how good their beer is and whatnot. Like, yeah, this for $3.75, $4 can, right in the wheelhouse. And then availability, I have no idea. So Sean or anybody else in Ontario, if you know how Sparrow gets out there, do you have to go to the brewery? Do they get to some local bottle shops? Or I know I'm terrible at what I do, but Sean did say the place he picked this one up. I don't know about this one, but I think with the Third Moon beers, it was like a coffee house or something that also has a bunch of beers that you can buy. I think it was something like that. I don't know. They've changed their laws in Ontario and over the past X amount of years, and they still have some somewhat archaic laws as far as like selling beer and whatnot. But I will say this: if you're in Ontario, Canada, and you're in Cambridge or anywhere close, check them out. That's what I would say, because based on this first beer, pretty damn good. Be nice to try more from them down the line, but as is, I'm pretty happy with this one. So huge thanks to Sean for this beer. If you've had this one before or anything from Sparrow, please post in the comment section. Let me know what you think about them. And yeah, we're going to shut this one down. I have, I don't know what order I'm going to post these reviews, but yeah, I'm pretty much going to say one beer from his beer mail, which is the Barncat Bourbon Barrel Aged English Barley Wine. I can't wait to get in that. I'll probably review that one over sometime in the winter, but I'm going to save that maybe for a special occasion or just when I'm feeling it. So anyway, thanks again, Sean. Thanks everybody. To the next one. Cheers.